Good morning, lovelies. Today we are talking about 10 of the most sexist, damaging tropes in science fiction and fantasy. If a story that I am reading or watching has any one of these, I immediately lose interest, and I usually avoid anything else made or endorsed by the creators. Before we get started, remember to subscribe to the channel for more videos on science fiction, fantasy, and horror through a feminist lens. On to 10 of the most frustrating, sexist, horrible tropes that I keep running into in movies, shows, and books. Number 1, the woman in the refrigerator. This is when a female character is killed off to motivate a male character. She has no other reason to exist, just to die for a dude's arc. Women always getting in the way of things. Just kill her off in Act 1 so we can get to the good stuff. That's basically what this is. The woman in the refrigerator trope got its name from an old Green Lantern comic where he came home to his wife or girlfriend or whoever it was and found her body stuffed in the refrigerator after getting killed by the villain. It is particularly frustrating when this is a good female character with promise and personality and someone that I would love to follow and get invested in, but that doesn't matter nearly as much as the guy's need for revenge. Writers, you couldn't come up with any other reason to throw him into the plot? Number 2, the damsel in distress. I did a whole video on this topic, so I will refer you to that. This trope can be done well. More often than not, though, it's just another version of the woman in the refrigerator trope. Put a gal in danger so a guy can save her. Number 3, woman as love interest. And that is it. What I mean here is that when she has no hobbies, personality, or life outside of the dude, or her entire narrative arc revolves around getting the guy. She has no other reason to exist in the story, except maybe to double as the damsel in distress and or woman in the refrigerator. Now, I'm not saying that you cannot write a sweet little romantic subplot in your story, but when that is your female character's only defining characteristic, that's a problem. Our lives don't revolve around your dick. And it's also just plain bad writing. She's gonna feel so two-dimensional and fake. No one's gonna like her. And we're all just gonna be seriously questioning why your hero is so infatuated with her when she has all the personality of a brick. Number 4, the self-sacrificing men. Okay, this might just be me, but have you ever noticed that when a character is asked to sacrifice their lives to save the world or another character or the rebellion, usually sometime in Act 3, it's always a man? Seriously, this is the only time that a woman is widely considered to be more valuable than the man, that her life must be preserved and his can be kicked to the curb. If you've got one man and one woman who have managed to survive to the final act, and one of them has to die to save someone or something, or we never expect the woman to step up. Only the guy. Unless I'm missing something here, but I don't think I am. This happens all the time in horror movies especially, but it is very common in action genres as well. Even if the guy doesn't actually die and survives, this is still a lot of pressure to put on men, and a really sour message. The greatest thing you can ever do for your loved ones is die? That's bullshit. Number 5, the faux action girl. Another one that I went into great detail about in the damsel in distress video. A faux action girl is when the writers promise us a strong female character, except she never wins in a fight except maybe her opener, and is overall very useless in the story. She is a failed strong female character. I hate this as both a feminist and a writer, because it's just such bad writing, guys. Number 6, she's not like other girls. Apparently being like other girls is a bad thing. Being traditionally feminine is a bad thing. Well, fuck you too! Number 7, the Femme Fatale. This used to be a villain archetype, and is now more of an anti-hero archetype, although she is still sometimes a villain. Actually, she usually ends up as the love interest. We have all seen this girl. She's the one who uses sex and seduction to get what she wants, and then usually has a gun or some martial arts move to take down the man once he has given her what she wants. It's rare for her to be well written, which is why I have such a beef with this trope. 9 out of 10 times she's just a sex object with martial arts, and often ends up as a faux action girl or damsel in distress anyway. So right there, the fatale part of Femme Fatale is bullshit. Number 8. Over-the-top matriarchies. A matriarchal society where women have more political and social power than men would be just as bad as a patriarchy. Any system where half the population is at such a critical disadvantage is bad. But so often, writers who use a matriarchy and their setting, they just go way stupidly over the top. All of the women will be bitches. All of the men will be brainwashed slaves. That's not how people react to groups in power. That's not how power groups work and form anyway. And what I really hate about this is that usually the matriarchy will be this evil society, while a patriarchy will exist in the same story and will be the good, righteous society, even though they're both oppressing half of their population. I mean, there's an implication here, and I don't like it. Number 9, mystical forced pregnancy. This is when a character is forced to become pregnant through some magical means. And it's usually a woman. I don't think I've ever seen this happen to a guy in story. I mean, it's basically pregnancy through rape, except we're using magic instead of sexual assault. That doesn't make it any less traumatic. Being forced to carry a fetus to term when you did not give consent for that, no matter what other circumstances, is a horrible human rights violation. But the stories almost never address that trauma or violation. The only 2 that I'm aware of are Lucifer and Alien. In fact, it will usually be written as a good thing for their character. They got a precious baby out of the deal, see? It's great. It's like, no, it's not. And on a similar note, number 10, woman raped for no good narrative reason. Hey look, I did a whole video on this one too. You check that out. This is often another form of fridging the woman. Her assault will just be there to motivate or impact the men in her life. Or it's the only way that the writer can think of to make her a strong female character. Like, rape is not some mystical portal that we all have to go through in order to be considered strong or to be motivated to learn martial arts. I mean, come on. I know that I missed some. In fact, I purposefully left out some because I didn't want this video to be an hour long. So, hit me up in the comments. We will bitch about the patriarchy together and how they are ruining our favorite science fiction and fantasy stories. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and if you can, join us on Patreon. That link is in the description. Bye, lovelies!